The anime begins by showing a girl fighting an evil spirit named Ayano, the daughter of the Kannagi clan chief, who is famous for her firepower. It was known that Ayano could easily defeat the evil spirit. Elsewhere, a young man named Kazuma Yagami visits a house to do his job as an exorcist. Kazuma is a member of the Kannagi clan who has been expelled from the clan because he does not have the power of fire but instead has the power of wind, which is considered a family disgrace. When he entered the house, he accidentally met another family member named Yuki, who despised Kazuma and said that he would not be able to eradicate the evil spirit in the house. Not long after, an evil spirit appeared. Yuki came forward to face the evil spirit, but he made things even more chaotic because the fire burned the house. Unlike Kazuma, who used a little of his wind power, he was very easy to eradicate the evil spirit. Yuki, who woke up from his stupor, was very surprised when he saw Kazuma easily defeat the spirit. That night, Yuki tells his family that Kazuma is still alive and that all this time, he has changed his last name to Kazuma Yagami to make his family think he is dead. Hearing that makes the clan leader, Jugo, feel happy. However, Kazuma's father, named Gamma, still doesn't want to consider Kazuma as his son, and he states that he only has one child, namely Kazuma's younger brother named Ren. While the Kannagi clan was sleeping, someone similar to Kazuma suddenly attacked Yuki and the other family members and killed them. The next day, an investigation was carried out, and according to their servant, the person who killed Yuki and his family was a wind mage power user. Hearing that, the Kannagi clan thought that Kazuma was the culprit because he wanted revenge on the Kannagi family who had abandoned him. At night, the Kannagi clan conducts reconnaissance of Kazuma by relying on the wind power of their servant named Hio. After Kazuma's whereabouts are discovered, Gamma sends two members of his clan, Shingo and Takeya, to bring Kazuma to him. Secretly, it turns out that Ayano joined the trip. After they found him, they immediately approached him. Suddenly a force of wind appeared and trapped Ayano. Meanwhile, Shingo and Takeya, who had met with Kazuma, told him about the murder in his family and told him to come with them or they would force him if he refused. Kazuma, who didn't want to come back, refused the invitation and trounced them. But without Kazuma realizing it, a wind power appeared, which resulted in Shingo and Takeya being killed. When Kazuma looked back, a demon-like hand appeared from the sky, which then disappeared. Meanwhile, Ayano, freed from the wind cage earlier, was very surprised when she saw that Shingo and Takeya had died. Became furious, Ayano attacked Kazuma because she thought he had killed his family members. While dodging, he tried to tell Ayano that it wasn't him who had killed his family. However, Ayano didn't believe his words until Kazuma used a little of his strength to silence her, then warned her to be careful because the Kannagi family was in danger, and after that, he left. As a result of the killing of Shingo and Takeya, again, there was a misunderstanding between the Kannagi clan and Kazuma. He was accused of having killed the two members of their family. Annoyed, Gamma decides to meet Kazuma in person and forces him to come to the Kannagi clan. In the afternoon, Gamma called Kazuma to inform him about a meeting. While waiting for his father to come, Kazuma was reminded of his past when he was expelled by his own father because he could not use the power of fire. Since that day, his hatred towards the Kannagi family has arisen. At night, Gamma asked Kazuma to visit the Kannagi family's place. It was repelled by Kazuma by attacking Gamma. However, his attack was in vain because his father was a strong firepower user. In the middle of the fight, for the last time, Gamma tried to ask Kazuma to come with him to the Kannagi family's place, but his answer was still the same as before. Due to not having much time, Gamma was forced to fight Kazuma by expanding the power of his blue flame called Azure Flame. Kazuma looked surprised to see his father's strength. It turned out that Azure Flame is a blue flame from God with a very strong heat. In the past 1,000 years, there were only 11 Azure Flame power users in the Kannagi clan. Soon afterward, Kazuma issued his wind power called Kaze no Stere, which can extinguish his father's Azure fire and easily overthrow his father. After that, Kazuma returns to the hotel, and Ren appears. It can be seen that their relationship is fine, in contrast to his relationship with his father, who hates Kazuma so much. At that place, Ren asks if Kazuma killed the Kannagi family and suggests that if he isn't the killer, it's better to immediately tell the Kannagi clan about it to avoid misunderstandings. However, Kazuma rejected the suggestion because he hated the Kannagi clan so much. The next day, when Kazuma and Ren were sleeping, they were suddenly attacked by a mysterious man. Because of that, he immediately took Ren out of the hotel. When the building was destroyed, it turned out that Ayano was under the hotel to meet Kazuma, so she was buried under the hotel's rubble. When Kazuma and Ren leave, the mysterious man who attacked them appears in a very dire state. While Kazuma was fighting, he realized that Ren had been kidnapped. Because of that, Kazuma came to the Kannagi clan the next day to inform them about Ren. In front of the gate, Kazuma remembered when his mother kicked him out by giving him only a small amount of money to survive. After passing through the gate, he was confronted by several members of the Kannagi clan who wanted to capture him, but Kazuma easily defeated them. Soon after, Jugo appears, and Kazuma immediately informs him that Ren has been kidnapped. Hearing that, Jugo was very surprised and asked Kazuma to continue the conversation at his house. Shortly after, Kazuma informs that Ren's kidnapper is Ryuya Kazumaki, the son of a Kannagi clan servant named Hio, who comes from the Fuga clan and has the power of a wind mage. Hearing his explanation, Jugo assumed it was a rebellion from the Fuga clan. Not long after, Ayano also came and talked about it. Afterward, Jugo explains that there was a war between the Kannagi clan and the Fuga clan in the past. Because the Fuga clan lost, the Kannagi clan succeeded in sealing Yama, the god who gave the Fuga clan power. Hence, the Fuga clan kidnaps Ren for sacrifice during Yama's awakening. Elsewhere, Hio and Ryuya Kazumaki, who had kidnapped Ren, prepare for Yama's awakening ritual. As it turned out, Ren was chosen as an offering because he was a direct member of the head of the Kannagi family who had created a seal for Yama called Samadhi, a crystal-shaped flame. Anyone who touches Samadhi other than a member of the head of the Kannagi family will be burned to death. In the ritual, the resurrected Yama will devour Ren's body before entering Ryuya's body. After hearing all those explanations, Ayano and Kazuma rush towards a hill where Ren was. On the way, suddenly, they are attacked by Ryuya, so Ayano confronts him while Kazuma goes to save Ren. Luckily, Kazuma came just in time before Ren was almost devoured by the resurrected Yama. Kazuma even prevented this, making the Fuga clan so angry that they attacked him. Suddenly, Ryuya appears and pulls Yama into his body, so he turns out of control and attacks whoever is there, then goes to Kanaga's place for revenge. Seeing that, Kazuma immediately chased after Ryuya. On the way, he met Ayano, who was injured after fighting with Ryuya. According to Kazuma, Ayano might not be able to be cured because there are evil spirits that have entered her body. After that, he took out a very rare liquid called an elixir to remove evil spirits and gave it to her. Suddenly, all the evil spirits in her body instantly disappeared, and Ayano regained consciousness. Shortly after, Kazuma, Ayano, and Ren continued their pursuit of the demon Ryuya, who was heading to the Kannagi clan. It is seen that Kazuma lowers Ren to eradicate the remnants of the evil spirit that comes out of Ryuya's body, while Kazuma and Ayano will face Ryuya. Afterward, they fought against the powerful demon Ryuya. However, their attacks could not defeat him. Seeing Ryuya getting stronger, Kazuma thought about bringing out his secret power and asked Ayano to buy time so he could use that power. Not long after, Kazuma's eyes seemed to change after the power was activated. Meanwhile, Ayano, who was almost defeated unexpectedly, could attack the demon Ryuya with greater strength. Finally, Kazuma came and made Ayano wonder what was just happened because she saw his eyes changing. Then Kazuma explained that it was because he had contracted with the wind spirit to unlock greater power. Shortly after, Kazuma removed all his wind power to form a tornado to trap Ryuya. When Ryuya could not move, Ayano immediately drew her fire sword and made him disappear. Unfortunately, Kazuma, who used too much strength, fainted. At the same time, two women named Kirika Teshibana and Izumi Kurahashi, who served as police officers, came to investigate several cases. The next day, an event was held at the Kannagi clan to celebrate the end of their feud with the Fuga clan. Kazuma was invited to help in the fight. There, he meets Misawa, a girl from the Agami family and Takeya's younger sister. Suddenly, Misawa said she was very grateful to Kazuma for avenging her older brother, who was killed by Ryuya. But he said that Takeya's death was caused by his weakness. Hearing that, she became very angry and intended to kill him. Fortunately, there was a windshield that protected him so that Kazuma was not injured. Because of that incident, Misawa will be punished by the Kannagi clan, but Kazuma says they don't have to do that because she didn't hurt him, and then he left. One day, when Ayano came home from school, she was surprised to see Kazuma alone with Detective Kirika. Out of jealousy, Ayano tried to follow him, but she lost track of him. Even she called Ren to help her. However, she still hasn't found Kazuma's whereabouts yet. While she was resting, she accidentally saw Kazuma with Misawa. Out of curiosity, Ayano and Ren followed him again. In front of the hotel, suddenly, a bullet shot toward Kazuma, followed by another shot from the person Misawa ordered. With his strength, Kazuma could defeat the shooters with ease. Knowing herself, Misawa leaves and is chased by Ayano. When the two were about to fight, Kazuma came with Misawa's bag that was left behind. The angry Misawa didn't accept the bag and attacked Kazuma with her firepower until she was frustrated and crying because her attacks were useless. Then she asked why her older brother, who loved her so much, had to be killed. However, Kazuma didn't respond to that, and as it started to rain, he tried to give his coat to her. But Misawa refused again. Afterward, he chose to leave there. Soon after, Misawa, who still has a grudge against Kazuma, is on the roof of a building when a girl comes and offers to take revenge. Not long after, there was a woman who walked into the building. Suddenly, a green liquid appeared on the wall and devoured her to death. It turned out that, in some other places, the same liquid appeared and devoured everything, causing all of its victims to die because the liquid devoured the life energy of its victims. Jugo, who had heard the news, asked Ayano to go to Kazuma's place and handed over a paper asking them to investigate the case because, at this time, their investigative team from the Fuga clan was gone. Hearing that, Kazuma accepted the offer, but he would do it alone because, according to him, Ayano would only be a burden. Hearing that, Ayano became very upset and immediately left Kazuma. The Apparently, he didn't invite her because her anger could be used to provoke the demon to appear. It turned out that his prediction was correct. As Ayano and company walked together, the liquid appeared. She immediately attacked the liquid with her flame sword, even though it would return to its original state. Soon after, Kazuma came, and with the power of his wind, he managed to expel the liquid. After a while, Kazuma searched for the whereabouts of the liquid. He found Misao, who was filled with an evil aura. Turns out, she was the culprit of all the liquid attacks. Ayano, who came and saw Misao with an evil aura, immediately took out her fire sword and prepared to attack her. However, Kazuma held it back, so they had a fight. Meanwhile, Misao took advantage of the moment to run away. At the residence of the Kannagi clan, Misao's father, knowing his daughter was the perpetrator of the liquid murder, asked Jugo to allow him to intervene in dealing with his daughter. Then Ayano tries to stop them, but Ayano's father says that anyone who tries to threaten the peace of the Kannagi family must be exterminated. Hearing that, Misao's father asked the Kannagi clan to stop Kazuma from handling the case because he feared that Kazuma would disturb them. Soon after, Ayano stands up and offers to stop Kazuma. At night, Misao's father and the rest of Misao's family came to Misao, who was at a church. Meanwhile, Ayano, Kuriri, and Ren were in a place to monitor Kazuma's arrival. Not long after, Kazuma, who appeared at the church, suddenly remembered his childhood being bullied by other children in his class because he couldn't use the power of fire. After his arrival, Ayano immediately approached Kazuma to restrain him from meeting Misao. Suddenly, when Kazuma and Ayano are fighting, a spirit explosion at Misao's place causes the entire Misao family to die. Ayano looks shocked to see that, and Kazuma asks why Misao did that to her own family. Misao replies that they are not her family but people who flatter their superiors and become bosses to their subordinates. An angry Misao then attacked Kazuma with her demonic flames. However, the attack didn't affect him, who had strong wind power. Behind Misao, a girl named Michelle appears and is seen giving a few words to her, making her scream until she faints. Michelle turns out to be using Misao to get greater power to fight Kazuma. After that, with a few spells, they transformed into a dragon that attacked Kazuma, Ayano, and Ren. Shortly after, Ayano repeatedly attacked the dragon with her fire sword, but the dragon returned to its original form. Due to that fight, Kazuma was injured after trying to save her from the dragon's attack. Kazuma then asked her to give him time to unlock his secret power. Hearing that, Ayano agreed and was assisted by Ren. Then they both fought the dragon to give Kazuma time to activate the power. Not long after, Kazuma came with his power and turned Ayano's flames into more powerful azure flames. After that, Ayano and her new firepower drew her sword right at the dragon's head until it shattered and managed to burn Michelle's body. Meanwhile, Misao, saved from the azure flame, preferred to die because she thought she had committed many sins. Kazuma, who was annoyed with her thoughts, scolded her. Sometime later, Kazuma, Ayano, and Ren escort Misao to a place of penance. Suddenly, Misao asked Kazuma why she was saved. He told her that in the old time, he was protected by a girl when he was bullied. Hearing that answer, Misao realized that the boy she had protected as a child was Kazuma. After that, they separated. Switching to a school at night, a girl walking in the hallway looked frightened after seeing a white light telling her to leave. She immediately ran, scared to leave the school. Because the incident happened repeatedly, the school reported it to the head of the Kannagi clan to resolve the issue. Because of that, Jugo asked Ayano and Kazuma to carry out the task. In the evening, Ayano and Kazuma go to school. Suddenly, something sounded from behind the bushes, making Ayano immediately throw a fireball that Kazuma managed to deflect. From the school bushes, her friends Nanase and Yukari appear secretly following Ayano. Afterward, they entered the school and got a lot of interference from the white light that appeared. Annoyed, Ayano intended to finish the light, but Kazuma forbade it because the light might have wanted to tell them something. When the four of them were in a room, he suddenly felt something outside, so they checked outside, and Ayano was again getting interrupted by the white light. Then, Ayano, bothered, shot the light with her fireballs until it was caught by Kazuma's wind power. The white light was a fairy who wanted to have fun with them. Kazuma then asked what their real goal was, and the fairy said they just wanted to fulfill the last dream of the old tree in the school to produce leaves and flowers blooming one last time. After the fairies finished their task, they left, and the disturbance finally stopped. On the following day, Ayano and Kazuma returned to their duties to exorcise the evil spirits. Afterward, she invited him to dinner with her and accepted the offer. On the other hand, when Ren comes home from school, he accidentally meets a girl named Ayumi, who is singing in a park. Afterward, he greets her, and she invites him to play together. With a little awkwardness, Ren, who likes Ayumi, plays together in the park. Meanwhile, when Kazuma and Ayano were having dinner at the dining area, suddenly, he got a call from the fairy he had previously met. The fairy explained that she wanted to ask Kazuma for help to retrieve the seed or an egg belonging to them that had been stolen by humans because, without it, the fairies would be destroyed. At first, he refused the request, but after the fairy paid a hefty fee, Kazuma finally accepted it. On the other hand, when Ren and Ayumi are playing, suddenly, a group of people in black suits from the Tsuwabuki clan could control the ground and capture Ayumi. Seeing her being treated harshly, Ren immediately beat up the people by using his firepower to drive them away. Then the Tsuwabuki clan reports to Ren that he has robbed their property. However, it was not believed by Jugo, so he ordered Ayano to investigate. Elsewhere, Kazuma and the fairy were on their way to the residence of the Tsuwabuki clan, who had stolen the fairy egg. When he got there, Kazuma tried to find the egg with his wind power, but he couldn't find it. He then received information that the seed had disappeared. Besides that, Kazuma also heard that tomorrow, there will be a big ceremony to be carried out by the Tsuwabuki clan to stop the eruption of Mount Fuji every 30 years. When Kazuma was explaining this to the fairy, their whereabouts were suddenly discovered by Kureha, the next leader of the Tsuwabuki clan, and fortunately, he managed to escape. The next night, while Kazuma was reconning, the fairy asked why the Tsuwabuki clan had the ceremony. He said that 300 years ago before Mount Fuji erupted, the mountain emitted energy that created a giant beast, so the eruption was getting worse. Even with just a stomping of its feet, it could create a very powerful earthquake. To overcome this, the Tsuwabuki clan leader finally intervened to seal the monster. Even though the monster was successfully sealed, once every 30 years, the seal would weaken. To prevent this, the Tsuwabuki clan carried out the sealing ceremony by sacrificing the leader of the ceremony. Currently, the leader of the ceremony was Ayumi. Hearing Ayumi's story, Ren was very surprised, but Ayumi said that she was willing to do that because the safety of the citizens was more important than hers. Unable to bear to see Ayumi being sacrificed, Ren tries to encourage her, and Ren says that he will protect her no matter what. Hearing that, her feelings become a little calmer. Afterward, they went to a beach to fulfill Ayumi's last wish. In that happiness, Mayumi and Yuji Tsuwabuki come and ask Ayumi to return and treat her badly so that Ren gets angry and fights with Yuji Tsuwabuki. With his firepower, Ren managed to win the fight. Mayumi, who is with Ayumi, tells Ren that Ayumi is not a human but a clone of Mayumi, who was created from a fairy egg to replace her, leading the ceremony tomorrow. However, Ren didn't seem to believe it. Not long after, Ayano came and immediately told him to go from there. At the Tsuwabuki clan residence, Yuji and Mayumi faced Kureha with Ayumi. That night, Kureha did something suspicious with Mayumi, which worried Yuji, Mayumi's bodyguard. The next day, Yuji asks Kureha what she did last night to Mayumi, which keeps Mayumi from returning to her room. Suddenly, Kureha took Yuji to a place where Mayumi had crystallized with Ayumi. After that, Kureha tells Yuji not to worry because she wants to transfer Mayumi's power to Ayumi, who probably won't be able to carry out tomorrow's ceremony after Ayumi runs away with Ren. But it is possible that Mayumi will not survive if there is a disturbance at the ceremony tomorrow. Because of that, Kureha offered Yuji strength and asked him to prevent any disturbances that would occur. As the ceremony was about to take place, Ren and Ayano secretly infiltrated the Tsuwabuki clan's premises to apologize to Ayumi one last time. But they were both considered intruders, so they had to fight there. Suddenly, a giant golem, Yuji, who was given power by Kureha, arrives and manages to stop Ren and Ayano. When Ren was about to be defeated by the golem, Kazuma came to his rescue. Apparently, his attack also still couldn't defeat the golem that continued to regenerate after being attacked. Afterward, Ren stepped forward to face the giant using pure fire so that the golem could be defeated. Since they don't have much time left, Kazuma sends Ren to stop the ceremony and save Ayumi. Arriving there, Ren immediately apologized for her death and threatened the two guards there not to get in his way. Soon after, Ren tries to persuade Ayumi to leave there even though her age will only last for 1 month. Not long after, Kazuma came and, using his power, destroyed the place and saved Mayumi. Elsewhere, Ayano and Kureha's battle was fierce. While leaving the place, Kazuma suddenly heard a sound behind the collapse. It turned out that the voice came from a rock which was Kureha's father, who had been transformed by Kureha using the power of a giant beast. The stone told Kazuma to stop Kureha immediately because she did the ceremony not to seal the beast, but she wanted to take the beast's power. The monsters rose because of Kazuma, who had destroyed the crystal pillar. Seeing that, Kureha tried to stop the monster, but she failed and disappeared after being hit by the monster's attack. Unfortunately, Ren, Kazuma, and Ayano were overwhelmed while trying to stop the monster. As things became increasingly unsafe, Ayumi used the berry's power in her body to weaken the monster. Soon after, Ayano, Kazuma, and Ren directly attacked the monster and managed to defeat it. However, because Ayumi used too much energy from the fairy egg, her body became weaker and finally slowly disappeared in the arms of Ren, who was crying sadly. After Kazuma, Ayano, and Ren managed to stop the rise of the giants on Mount Fuji, the three of them were given the task by the Kannagi clan chief to go to a tourist spot and eradicate the evil spirits there. After walking around for a long time, they did not find an evil spirit in that place, and it turned out to be Jugo's plan to bring Ayano and Kazuma closer together. On the next day, Ayano seemed happy because she was going to eat with Kazuma at a restaurant as an apology to him for letting him fight alone on the previous mission. At the same time, at the airport, a girl from abroad named Catherine McDonald just came to the city to get a title and get an heirloom from the Kannagi clan. When it was dinner time, Ayano and Kazuma were already at the restaurant eating. Suddenly, several robbers messed up the place. In contrast to the scared people, they looked relaxed to see the robber. Even when the robber was about to attack Ayano, a fire grabbed his weapon, which scared him. It turns out the fire came from a beast spirit created by Catherine flying around them. Catherine then introduced herself that she came from the McDonald family, a family of fire mages highly respected in America. Catherine also said the purpose of her arrival was to obtain the title of the strongest fire belonging to the Kannagi clan and obtain Ayano's fire sword. Hearing that, Ayano refused the request, and a fight between them ensued. Using her magic doll, Catherine starts to attack and overwhelms Ayano as the magic doll keeps regenerating, making Ayano think she can't beat her. Afterward, Ayano began to look for ways to defeat the doll until she finally used the power of return. Because of that, she could burn the doll back into its original form. Apparently, her firepower can destroy and restore magic to its original form to make the restaurant explode. Suddenly, the building caught fire, but thanks to her power, it was saved. After that, because Kazuma and Ayano's dinner was interrupted, they ended up eating at a ramen shop on the side of the road. The next day, after her defeat with Ayano, Catherine begins to train her puppets by eradicating the evil spirits that appear in the city without realizing that her training irritates the public by disturbing public order. Finally, Kazuma and Kirika are assigned to find Catherine and meet her at one of the cafes. Soon after, Kazuma asks Catherine's purpose for disturbing public order, and she explains that it was her training so she could defeat Ayano. After hearing that explanation, Kirika and Kazuma laughed at her and said she could not defeat Ayano. Hearing that, Catherine is very emotional and opposes Kazuma into fighting her to prove their words wrong. In the afternoon, Kazuma and Catherine fought, and he easily defeated her. Kazuma said that she could not take Ayano's power because Catherine was only fixated on her doll, so she could no longer do anything when the doll was destroyed. Hearing that, Catherine looked confused as to why Kazuma, as Ayano's partner, would inform her who the enemy was. He replied that Ayano was not his partner but his business partner. Then Catherine schemes and offers him to work with her as well by providing training to her. After Kazuma agreed, Catherine trained with him. When her strength has increased, Catherine invites Ayano to compete with her with a bet that if Ayano loses, Catherine will take Kazuma to her residence. Besides that, she will also give money if Kazuma runs out of money. Hearing that, Kazuma easily agreed. Meanwhile, Ayano felt very sad and couldn't believe Kazuma would leave her because of money. However, she didn't want to give up and was going to face Catherine. Soon after, the battle between Ayano and Catherine begins. At the beginning of the fight, she looks very difficult to face Catherine, who uses a new stance. However, with her spirit, Ayano bounces back and defeats Catherine. After that fight, they started to get close, although not long after, they fought again because Catherine secretly started to like Kazuma to the point of making Ayano jealous. Some time passed, and Jugo again planned to bring Ayano and Kazuma closer to the hot spring. At first, everything seemed fine until Gamma's arrival without his knowledge to rest after his treatment. When Kazuma and his father met, they fought until the hot springs were destroyed, and both were battered. Because of that fight, Ayano and Kazuma's relationship is slowly getting closer. At a school, several students were seen playing tennis. Not far from there, a student named Utsumi is taking vulgar photos of students from behind the bushes. The suspicious students then approached him and checked his bag full of their vulgar photos. Not only that, but he also installed several hidden cameras in the student locker room. Knowing all this, the students punished Utsumi by beating him. Feeling disapproved, he met the students one by one and frightened them. Meanwhile, elsewhere, when Kazuma and Ayano were walking in a hallway, a man with a burly body attacked them, which he easily defeated. The next day, the rumors of Utsumi's attack began to spread at the school. Nanase, who was not visited Utsumi the night before, now has to face him in class. Afterward, he asks Nanase to apologize immediately and kneel in front of him. However, because she doesn't want to do that, Utsumi takes her behind the school and threatens her with the mysterious power that he has obtained. Then before Utsumi attacks, Yukari easily immobilizes him using her police stun device. That's why, now, Kirika asks Yukari to join them in overcoming the problem of the emergence of humans with superpowers, mostly young people and school teenagers. At the same time, Kazuma is currently investigating the same case and is listening to the words of a young man with mysterious superpowers who seems to be controlled by a game. Before the youth attacked his victims, Kazuma slashed them and dealt several blows. When he was about to leave, suddenly, a girl appeared and reminded Kazuma of his former girlfriend, who died as an offering to Yama named Sui Ling. When Kazuma wanted to greet her, she suddenly disappeared. On the other hand, Ren and his two friends, Kanon and Tetsuya, were walking towards a movie theater when a young man disturbed Kanon. Seeing that, Ren was angry and asked him not to disturb Kanon. Unable to accept himself being humiliated, the young man threatened Ren that he would tell his older brother, who had very strong power. However, Ren didn't care about it and immediately left him. Not long after, a thug who was the older brother of the young man Ren beat up earlier came to fight with Ren and his friends. Without further ado, the thugs immediately attacked. However, Ren could block them with his firepower. Then, he saw something strange because his attack couldn't hit the thug, and it was seen that Yama was helping him. Soon after, he emits a purification flame so that Yama and the thug's superpowers disappear. Elsewhere, Ayano and Catherine are teaming to defeat the superhumans who attacked them. With the two superhumans are caught, they are interrogated by Ren and Ayano in different places. The two people who once had superpowers explain that their power came from a website that appeared randomly, and if someone clicked on the yes icon, the site would give power. After that, everyone who obtained that power had to fight for their power level to rise and become number 1. The provider site is from a company called Pandemonium, and there is a guy named Vesalius who monitors the players from there. Shortly after, Ren finally found the building and went there with his friends. When he is about to destroy it, it turns out the building has an invisible shield that makes it indestructible. When he heard a voice calling for him, he tried to find another way which made his presence disappear instantly. On the other hand, at the Kannagi residence, Kirika is seen reporting the problem to Jugo. He says that the possible power people gain comes from Yama, which has been spread through the internet, and Yama is controlling them. During the meeting, Kazuma, who remembered the girl he met yesterday, rushed off to look for her again. However, Ren's friends suddenly call Ayano and tell her he has disappeared. Afterward, they immediately went to find Ren. Not long after, Kazuma, who knew that the building had a barrier, thought of breaking through it from above. Even though that method worked, he couldn't find Ren because he had entered a different place. Meanwhile, Kirika and Ayano rushed to enter there as the barrier weakened after Kazuma's attack. However, when they entered the place deeper, they did not find Ren either. Instead, they now meet a Vesalius servant named Lapis, who seems to be being controlled. Soon after, Ayano angrily asks Lapis to tell Vesalius's whereabouts. However, Lapis refuses to answer and takes a sword while threatening if Ayano and Kirika don't leave, she will kill them. Because of that, they fought. On the other hand, Ren, who woke up in Vesalius' room, was very surprised to find that he had been arrested. Vesalius offered him a power that he refused. Instead, Ren asked him to stop his behavior. However, Vesalius refused, and he showed the condition of Kazuma, trapped in the labyrinth dimension, and Ayano, fighting with Lapis maid. However, Ren believed that Kazuma and Ayano would not be killed. Shortly afterward, Kazuma found out about Ren's existence through his voice in the labyrinth dimension and managed to get out of the dimension. When Kazuma first met Vesalius, he was very surprised because Vesalius was his former enemy, Bernhardt Rhodes. Apparently, previously they had fought, which Kazuma won. Then, Ayano and Lapis appeared by destroying the walls of the room. Kazuma was shocked and couldn't believe that the girl was really Tsui Ling. Then Bernhardt informed that the girl was Lapis, whom he created as a clone of Tsui Ling. Hearing that, Kazuma was very emotional because Bernhardt's actions seemed to play with his dead girlfriend. Shortly after, Bernhardt fled with Lapis and destroyed the place. At the same time, behind the prison, Utsumi saw an inscription on the wall, and after the writing appeared, he disappeared. At the residence of the Kannagi clan, Kirika led a meeting to discuss the matter that had occurred. However, Kazuma was nowhere to be seen and left without telling anyone. At the same time, Ayano, curious about Tsui Ling and Kazuma's relationship, asked Kirika. Kirika explains that back in the day, when Kazuma was kicked out by his family, he went abroad and didn't know his purpose in life anymore. Every day, he just gets drunk and fights with thugs. Kazuma, who was known to be cruel and ruthless, slowly began to improve after meeting Tsui Ling. However, her beautiful life did not last long because a few months after his meeting with Kazuma, Tsui Ling was killed as a sacrifice by Bernhardt, making Kazuma hate him very much. After Tsui Ling's death, Kazuma made a pact with the Wind King to increase his strength. On the other hand, Kazuma, who is currently remembering his good times with Tsui Ling, looks changed. His killing aura rose, and his eyes suddenly turned red, and he said he would kill Bernhardt as revenge for himself for killing Tsui Ling. He didn't even hesitate to kill anyone who got in his way. Soon after, Ayano and Ren, worried about Kazuma, visited his empty residence after the events in Pandemonium. In a park, a group of super-powered people is holding a tournament to increase their power level to a higher level. Shortly after, two people came forward to fight, and while the fight was going on, Kazuma came to inquire about Pandemonium's whereabouts. He was despised for interrupting the two's fight. However, he easily attacked them and killed everyone who was there. Meanwhile, Utsumi, who disappeared from prison, has gained a stronger power than Bernhardt and plans to take revenge on everyone who humiliated him, especially Nanase. Kirika, who knows Nanase is in danger, has sent Catherine and Izumi to set up a barrier at her house. Moments later, Kazuma apparently came and broke the barrier. He attacks Catherine and Izumi and then takes Nanase away to be handed over to Utsumi. Seeing that, Ayano was very surprised and couldn't believe that Kazuma had done all that. Then Kirika explained the possibility of Kazuma doing that because he wanted to find out about Pandemonium's whereabouts by using Utsumi. Soon after, Kirika tells Ayano that Kazuma has always been known to have a selfish nature, and while still in training, he was known for his ferocity in killing people. Whoever dares to touch Kazuma, then he will die. Even he has the nickname of the Grim Reaper or demon-like wind mage. If that happened, Kazuma would become out of control and could endanger the entire city. After that, Kirika orders Ayano to stop Kazuma because only she can do it. At night, Kazuma returned to visit a player to inquire about Pandemonium's whereabouts. Since the player ignored the question, Kazuma immediately dismissed him. Ren, who saw that, said that he was afraid of his older brother, who had changed. The next day, Ren told his friends and Kirika about the incident. He then supports Ayano in stopping Kazuma. On the other hand, Yukari could find Pandemonium's whereabouts by using the web and secretly going there. When they arrived, Yukari saw Utsumi, who was with Nanase, telling all the players that in a park at midnight, Pandemonium would descend. Whoever gets there first will gain great power. Yukari immediately informed Ayano about this. Unfortunately, her actions are known by Utsumi, so she is arrested. After learning that Ayano got a message from Yukari, Kirika thought it was all a trap set up by Bernhardt to defeat Kazuma. Kirika concluded after checking the cell phones of the players who killed Kazuma and getting a message that they had to defeat him if they wanted to gain great power. Bernhardt probably knew that Kazuma had found his Pandemonium castle, so he deliberately set up the tournament. Hearing that, Ayano didn't stay silent. She planned to come to Pandemonium and try to revive Kazuma. In Pandemonium, Utsumi wants to be the ruler of the place and looks to challenge Bernhardt. Bernhardt, who heard Utsumi's challenge, just laughed. At midnight, the tournament started, and it was seen that Ayano, Ren, and Kirika immediately went to the tournament venue. Ren fought several players who tried to attack him. Shortly after, Pandemonium Castle appeared, and all the players who gained power turned into Yama and headed straight for the castle. At that place, Kazuma appeared and immediately slaughtered all the players. Then Ayano and Ren tried to persuade him to stop his actions, but Kazuma, who had been enveloped in a vengeful aura, ignored their words. Having no other choice, Ayano decides to fight with Kazuma. Although she initially had difficulty keeping up with his strength, in the end, she defeated Kazuma. In the middle of the fight, Ayano could awaken her crimson flames, which took Kazuma and Ren by surprise. Luckily, Kazuma came to his senses just before Ayano's crimson flames attacked him. Now, Kazuma had come to his senses and returned to his normal mind. After that, Kazuma, Ayano, and Ren head to Pandemonium to stop Bernhardt. As they entered the place, they were blocked by Lapis, carrying the controlled Eureka and Nanase. It is also seen that Utsumi, who has been defeated by Bernhardt, is bound in a crystal. Apparently, the purpose of building Pandemonium was to create superior beings or creatures combined between humans and demons. After that, Lapis killed Utsumi as a final sacrifice to begin the ritual of summoning Belial, or the Demon Prince, as a superior being. Before Belial got up, Kazuma and Ayano tried to stop Lapis, but they were too late because he would appear soon. Soon after, Kazuma brought Ren and Ayano to fly so they could attack him from above. It was seen that Belial, a giant creature the size of their city, had appeared. Kazuma, Ayano, and Ren had prepared to use all their strength to stop him. Then they attacked the monster together until they managed to stop it. After the monster disappeared, Bernhardt, who appeared with Lapis, didn't dare to fight with Kazuma because Gamma Kannagi, who had strength comparable to Kazuma's, had been monitoring him. Before Bernhardt and Lapis left, Kazuma asked about Sui Ling's last words as she was about to be killed. However, Lapis only replied that she was going to kill Kazuma. Hearing that answer, he was surprised and hugged Ayano. Even though Kazuma knows Sui Ling will hate him, he will accept his past to face the future. At the end of the anime, Kazuma teases Ayano by throwing her into the pool, so she gets annoyed and takes out her fire sword. The moral that can be learned from this anime is that accepting the past is the best way to face the future.